Hi there, in this video I'll be sharing with you how I change photographs from a basic sort of snapshot into a more interesting and alive reference image. So we'll be looking at the settings I use and also how to create a better composition. So let's dive in and take a look. Here's an image taken on a mobile phone of one of my favourite spots, which is Monsall Head in Derbyshire. All I want to show you here is if you're using a mobile phone to take your photographs, how you can actually change that photograph and make it more interesting for when you do a painting from it. So make a more interesting reference image basically. What I'm going to do is just close this off, and then I'm going to bring this image in now. If you look in the top left hand corner, there's a drop down menu with open in camera raw option there. So if you click on that and then select the image there, so this brings it into camera raw option. So what that does, it gives you more options to actually change all these different things. You can change the temperature, the tint, the exposure, the contrast, highlights, shadows, whites, blacks, clarity, vibrant, saturation. You can sharpen it, you can reduce the noise in it or the color noise as well, but I don't tend to use those three there. Basically what I do when I bring it into this program, you see this option here, it says white balance. That's as shot, so that's what the white balance was when this photograph was taken. So I can change that to automatic, and what the program will do will actually change it and improve on it. And funny enough, it's improved it to more or less exactly what I'm looking for, because this is the actual feel I had on the day. It was warmer, there's more reds in it. Where before, if I go back to where I shot, you can see how green it is and flat. You can actually change that yourself, but I'll just show you what it actually done. When I pressed automatic look, it's just changed the temperature and the tint. So you could just put a shot and you can change these to where you want, so you can just slide it up to what temperature you wish it to be. I know you've got these facilities on your phone actually to do all this, but there's some things on here that you haven't got on your mobile phone to change how it looks. So what I'll do is I'll go back to automatic, because that's set it right, sort of more or less what I'm looking for. Then if you look down here, you've got all these different options like I mentioned. Now if I change the exposure, it's going to lighten things up or it can darken things. So if you've got something that's bleached out, you can actually bring down the exposure a little bit, and then it'll make it darker in that area. Now your contrast, you can change that if you wish. I'm just going to leave it as what it's set at. Highlights, that brightens things up or darkens, it just takes away, if you didn't want that glare so much with that white, you can actually drop that down a bit. But what it's doing, you see, it's taking the highlights, the lights off the path and other areas. So I didn't want to really do that, so I'll just leave that on 0, find it. And the shadows, this is what I'm going to be using, because see the shadows here, it's quite dark, but you can actually brighten those shadows up. Now that's the extreme, so I don't want to go too far. Round about what you got to do is sit back and look at it from a distance and imagine you're there and what it felt like. So I'm going to go around about plus 50, I think, on that. Then it'll just bring out enough detail in there without it looking washed out, because you need to have a little bit of shadow in there, because obviously it's silhouetted against that sun, but in reality it's not as dark, you still can see detail. So what I'm doing is bringing it up so I can see the detail, so I'll leave it at plus 50 on that. The whites, it looks fine as it is. The blacks, see the blacks, you can lighten blacks up, and they're similar to the shadow, but I'll just leave it at as it's set there, 0. And same with the whites, you can make things lighter or dark. So it's a case of playing with these different options you've got. I'm going to leave the clarity, vibrance and saturation. You can play about with it, but the thing is when you start putting more saturation and less saturation, you can see what it's doing there. But there's another way you can change things, which I'll show you once that's actually opened up into the actual software itself. So if I leave it at that, because I like the colour of that, it looks more richer and it's better with the shadows, it's not so dark, and you can see a bit more detail in the tree there, look, as well, and on the branches up there. So let's just open that up and just see what that's like now then. So what I want to do now is have a look at that and think, do I need to bring down the chroma in that, the grass there? Is it too bright? You can play about with it by, I mean, look up here, look, so on the top bar there, there's these different options. Enhance, if you click on that drop down menu, open up adjust hue and saturation. So you have got these different options, different colours here. You'd probably think, oh, you need to drop down the green a little bit. So if I select the greens and then just alter the saturation, it's not really doing much at all to that. You can see if I go extreme with the saturations, it's bringing out different areas to what I want to drop down. So you just leave that at 0, then drop down menu, look for yellow. So then I can actually change the yellow a little bit. What does it need doing? I think it looks fine as it is really now. Just need to actually sort out the composition. So what I tend to do is there's an area side here which is a crop tool, and then what I'll do then is put the parameters in. So the width I want to be 12 inches, be 16 inches high at 300 dpi, so you've got 300 dots per inch. So what I'll do then is drag this box across, so wherever that box is, it'll crop to them parameters, which is 12 inch by 16 inch. What you have here is the rule of thirds. You've got 2 vertical lines, 2 horizontal lines, and where they cross is normally where you put the point of interest or the focal point, so the eye is led to that point. Now I want the eye to go down this path here. So if I drag this box to a certain point there, and then the other cross there is just on that post there, but basically the eye is actually going to go onto this area here, because you've got lines which is helping here, perspective lines, it'll lead the eye down that path into, hopefully into the distance there. So if I click on that, if you look at the top here, you've got 12 inches by 16 inches. Now that looks a lot better composition now, so your eye is actually going down here, down the lane, and it's warmer and the shadows are not too dark. It's more interesting. Right, so now you can see the difference between the two now, before and after. See, that's before. It looks quite flat. It was took from the mobile phone. It had a nice feel to it. That's why I really liked that image, my sister took. I took one at a slightly different angle here. I've used this one because I like how it's balanced, but also it's nice to show you how you can change what you've took on your mobile phone and make it something really interesting and make it usable for actual reference for your paintings. So you can see how warmer it is and more inviting, and we're changing that composition as well. It's made a difference. So it's just a case now of me preparing my board and start to do the outline for it. So I'm looking forward to having a go with this. There's quite a lot of challenges here, so it'll be interesting to do. Thank you for watching the video right through to the end. If you found value in it and you liked the video, please give it a thumbs up. Appreciate it, would help the channel. Leave a comment and a message in the comments below. Let me know what sort of videos you want me to produce. I've actually left a couple of links here for you to click on, and to subscribe, click on the circle here. It's absolutely free and then you're sure not to miss any of my future videos. Thank you so much, take care and be well.